Hey, hello. So the last time I was experimenting with deserializing a JSON of a JsonLogic format into Rust in Playground, and I actually changed my mind a bunch. So if I go to my actual code, I tested out and implemented basic implementation of these. So I've got a test suite of things to compare, like there's more sign, 3 is supposed to be more than 10. Of course, it's gonna return false. 10 is more than 3, yeah, it's true. Same for all these. So if I run them, they work perfectly fine. So let me go through what's happening, actually, to make it more apparent. Let me move it like here. So what's happening for the case over here? Well, obviously, there needs to be an comparison operator, and I, in ugly manner, called it ops. And this is an enum, and it can have all possible kind of ordering operations. And of course, it looks for the actual sign, and it compiles it into a specific corresponding enum for the operation. And what's more important, it reads the array of things that we have in here into a vector. And of course, a vector of elements all combined. What is all combined? Well, let's look. So all combined is something that can be an operation like I showed before. It knows already how to serialize its specific keys. It could be an operation list. So if JsonSurdy finds an array of similar things, like in here, array of 2 items of these blocks, then it's going to create a option list. And it could have a primitive. A primitive is something that JsonSurdy could just give you. It could be a number, it could be an object, it could be anything that doesn't correspond to any of these. And yeah, and this is like the entry point for the deserialization. So I'm trying to deserialize whatever JSON I throw at the algorithm, and it just uh, compiles it into proper logic. So the cool part about enums, they have the possibility to implement or create methods associated with the enum. And of course, I only want to have one execute method. And for whatever operation I might have, like for example, if when we are inside the operation, I want to check what kind of operation that is, and if it's any of mentioned above, not equal, more equal, less equal, whatever, then I just assemble the operation key and the actual array of items, whatever I have. And if the arguments that I receive from the match statement over here, if its length is less than 2, then any operation would just result into false. Because if I compare, if I check if 3 is less than nothing, if there was nothing in here, for example, then obviously it's false. It's fault logic. So ZZ, and since at this point here I get a list of all combined possible variations of parameters in the array, I need to actually execute every element on their own, because here there could be another branch of less than. All right. For example, let me display that function over here, execute combined list. So when I get a list of all combined things, and I actually look for a list of combined things, I map over them and I just execute them, and I return a new vector. This way, if there's like a deeper branch inside one item, it collapses into one decision, and then it could be executed. So that's actually quite cool. And for every operation, I needed to like specifically say for equality, I'm doing the equality, for less or equal, doing this, and for not equal, this. So this is already coming in quite nice. So what was the challenge? Obviously, when I'm doing the comparisons like this, any item I compare is actually our custom element, an enum. So obviously Rust doesn't know how to compare all combined type with another all combined type. And obviously I needed to actually copy paste the logic I had already for my expression parser in the markdown table, where I checked for numbers, because numbers is pretty much anything I could check against. And I just converted whatever number I have as 64 float. I unwrap it or pass in a 0, because I actually do want to just check numbers. So that works. And yeah, all these test cases are covered and they actually work. What's cool about this, I suppose, since this is I guess I could type in some random stuff in here, like true and false, and these will not be equal automatically. Let me run it. So it still works. Let me check if true is true. True is true. Run everything. So true is still a true. So yeah, I'm getting to the point where I guess for some type of business I would need to implement some sort of equality operation on strings. Maybe I should do that. Although, no, wait, before I do that, I would actually want to see further if more complicated logic can be built. So obviously this is checking true against truth, right? And that means that I could have more items inside here. So I know this results into truth. So if I try to do that, so I should be able to get truth from this. See, this is where the combined array execution, which collapses this into truth, should technically work automatically. And gee, I hope it works. Yeah, it works. Nice. And here I could have another piece of logic where the operation more would be an array of 1 is more than 0. All right. Still worked, and just to make it fail, I'm gonna write a 10, and see, it fails. So it fucking fails because yeah, no reason to be worrying about that. So I know that my combined stuff executing a branch of an item is still resulting into truth. Since that works, I want to check strings. They should work automatically because in my all combined enum, I do have a primitive. And primitive is something that JsonLogic should handle. And I hope when I try to compare strings, it will actually do that. Let me double check. So high should be equal to high. If it doesn't work, I would need to write additional this. All right, let's see. It still worked because, again, I am using a value that JsonSurvey already provides, and all the operations should technically work automatically. Nice. What if I say high 1? Oh, no, wait, high 2. So this should be a false. This should be a false. Let me run it. Still works. Come to think of it, do I ever get into this branch? Do I ever go into here? I'm just wondering if I actually needed to do that. Println. Let me see. Some stuff. Maybe I could simplify my code a bunch. Run test. Oh yeah, it does go in there. It does go in there, but does it go over here? Because I am working with primitives. This is a testing phase. Yeah, it still goes in there. Well, all right. It can check against numbers. But technically, by the time when I go inside this case, I just realized something. There might be a case that since I'm collapsing all the logics inside here, they all result into primitives. And I'm gonna show you something. Let me check it first. So he who doesn't change his mind is not smart. So, all right. So this doesn't implement this. Yeah. I don't know, it works somehow. All right. So this should still work. It goes in here if it's a number. All right. So this still works. And what else am I missing? So yeah, as I was saying, when the comparison is triggered, the ops implementation is giving, well, I decided to use JsonLogic's value system. So they have multiple things, uh, just to show you. So they could have an array, they could have a boolean, a null, a number, an object, a string. So these are technically all the things that I would possibly need, and all of these comparisons things, they result into a boolean of comparison decision here. I just return it as primitive, and this way my entire thing just collapses in. So that's that. So strings work automatically because at the time when I'm passing those, it compiles into, yeah, the primitives. But I kind of believe that if I try to compare a string to a number, this will fail because the types don't match. Well, here we go. I don't need to write any code anymore. All right, so what if I wanted to add another this? What if I wanted to get a boolean that all these are equal? Because again, over here, there's more. Yeah, I'll make it like outside the recording and let you know further. Thanks for just listening. Cheers.